So the Deshaun Watson conversation is starting to gain a little bit of momentum. They're starting to pick up some steam here. So the latest, and this is my point, I don't think, at the very least, I think Deshaun Watson's going to get suspended 6 games. I think that's happening. Now, they're waiting to get all this stuff figured out and sorted out after the season. That is the goal, or that's the timeline right now. When the deposition is done with, the witnesses or the accusers rather have spoken and given their side and all that. Deshaun Watson posting a workout video recently. Like there's that stuff that is happening, and it feels like when you see the workout video that Deshaun Watson's getting ready to play a season. My thought on it is this. I don't believe that Deshaun Watson, if they go all the way through with this, meaning if there's no settlement and they are maintaining, he and Rusty Harden are maintaining that he is innocent and they want to prove his innocence, I don't see how the NFL lets this hang over anybody's head, and I don't see how the NFL lets this just sit there and float out there and be a part of the conversation, and they just allow Deshaun Watson to go back to the field. I don't see how that happens. I don't think the NFL is going to want to deal with the PR hit and the blowback they're going to get. So if Deshaun Watson wants to go all the way through with this, then I think he's not playing this season. That's where I'm at. If there's a settlement before, I think the NFL is going to step in. And look, you can settle this at any time. Like, it could be settled today. It could be settled tomorrow, next week. Like, if it gets settled pretty quickly here, then I think that Deshaun Watson, at the very least, is going to get popped for 6 games. I think he'll be available for 11 of the 17 games. Quick reminder, we are up to a 17-game season, just for everybody out there. But I think he's going to get popped at least somewhat. But if he goes through with this, if he's demanding and they want to make sure that they're proving his innocence, and they don't like the hit he's taken to his reputation, and if he is innocent, absolutely that's what he should do. I don't think he's playing this year, because I don't think the NFL is going to let him play with all this stuff hanging out there and then look bad after the fact, much like they did, whether it was the Ray Rice situation, Adrian Peterson, you name it, all the other issues the NFL has had when it comes to punishing players based on evidence that they have or situations that are still hanging around as a cloud hanging over the season, and that would be a bad one for Deshaun Watson. Here's the other aspect of this. So he did want to trade. I mean, he didn't want to leave the Houston Texans, right? He wanted out. He did not want to be with the Houston Texans. He did not want to be there anymore. According to Matt Lombardo of Fansided, he reported this a couple of days ago that there is a trade market for Deshaun Watson. In talking to league executives, they've told him the Raiders, Washington, and Miami are all potential trade destinations for Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson is still pushing for this, if he's still pushing to be traded, he's got a lot of balls, man. He's got a lot of balls. Because the first time he came around and was talking about trading or wanting to be traded from the Houston Texans, I was in the minority on this. I thought Deshaun Watson was totally out of line. Totally out of line. Because people think, and this is how this works, because there are so many kiss asses in the media that they just want to buddy up to these players, and they just want to buddy up hoping that they're going to come on a podcast, or when they see them at Radio Row in the Super Bowl, they can get a picture with them and they'll get a follow back on InstaFace or whatever they call it. Like this is how this whole thing works. And so there was this race to defend Deshaun Watson, that he had been wronged by the Houston Texans, that the Texans had wronged him, which was complete and total crap. Complete crap. Well, they traded away his number one wide receiver. They traded away DeAndre Hopkins. And what did he do afterwards? He signed a contract extension there. Yeah, but the organization is so dysfunctional. It's Jack Easterby, and it was Bill O'Brien, and it was... Dude, after he signed the contract, he was in tears, and he thanked Bill O'Brien, he thanked the McNair family, and he thanked Jack Easterby. In tears. The only difference between then and now is Deshaun Watson was on a bad football team, and then he wanted out. He was bailing on the team. He was quitting on the team. If Bill O'Brien was the problem and they got rid of Bill O'Brien, what's the issue here? well, they haven't done enough to surround him with good. They're a dysfunctional organization. Man, there are dysfunctional organizations, and then there are dysfunctional organizations. The Texans are not dysfunctional, all right? Like, there are much worse organizations out there. They've been division champs, I think, for the last 6 years or something like that. You could argue they've been one of the more consistent organizations in the NFL. So when that whole story came out, I was totally on the side of the Houston Texans. I thought Deshaun Watson was out of line, but majority of the people out there, even some Texans fans, were supporting Deshaun Watson. Like, of course, we're going to be the organization that chases away a franchise quarterback in his prime. Of course, we couldn't find a quarterback for all these years, but we're going to be the team that chases away a franchise quarterback in his prime. If he, after all of this stuff that's come out, still demands a trade, still doesn't want to be a part of the Houston Texans, after I think at the very least everybody can acknowledge there's at least some smoke or there's at least some fire where there's a little bit of smoke here. I mean, like, look, 22 women have lawsuits against him. Another 30 or something are also out there. You mean to tell me this guy needed 50-something massage therapists? I mean, look, I got a guy who cuts my hair. He's been cutting my hair for 20 years. That's it. There's been like 2 other people that have touched my hair since then. One of them was because I moved and was working in South Carolina doing radio, and so I had to find anybody that could cut my hair because I looked like I'm homeless and probably smelled like it too. So I had to have somebody cut my hair. Like, I got one guy that cuts my hair. I got an old car. It's an '06. I got one mechanic. Like, Deshaun Watson, a professional athlete, he's got 50-something massage. It's weird. Like, at the very least, I think even if you're a Deshaun Watson supporter, you can acknowledge something's a little off with that. So with all this stuff now out, if he still demands a trade, still wants no part of the Houston Texans, I'm telling you, in the court of public opinion, this whole thing's going to start to flip. I mean, and if you're a Texans fan and you were a supporter of Deshaun Watson in this whole fight against the Houston Texans and how wrong he'd been, I think you could also acknowledge, upon further review, the fact that this guy can't see that this organization has actually had his back. They've not come out publicly and thrown him under the bus. They haven't said anything negative about Deshaun Watson. Even with all this stuff out, they haven't said anything negative. If he still comes all the way back around and says, I'm too good for this organization, I'm telling you that's going to be a bad look. Now, there is a team that is rumored to be in the market. In fact, there are 3 teams that are rumored to be in the market for Deshaun Watson. I can unequivocally tell you which one will not get Deshaun Watson. There are, according to Matt Lombardo of Fansided, the Raiders, Washington, and Miami are the teams that are in the market for Deshaun Watson. All right. Now, there is one team on that list who absolutely, without a doubt, will not trade for Deshaun Watson. I can assure you. You can just go ahead and cross that team off the list, as a matter of fact. All right, you can eliminate that team. Now, we will get to that team that we are going to eliminate, but let's first talk about the other 2 teams that are in the mix for Deshaun Watson. The Las Vegas Raiders. At some point, Derek Carr has got to be looking around going, what the F, man? Like what the F? Like, can there be a quarterback on the market, and can my team just not be interested in that quarterback? I don't think Derek Carr is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but I think he's much better than a lot of people give him credit for. I think he's much better. And you can argue that the issues there with the Raiders have not been what's on offense as much as the issues are on defense. Their defense has been a disaster. And this is now going into, year 4 of John Gruden? And it just feels like really, really slow progress. So if the defense makes a leap, if the defense makes a jump, I think you got the quarterback to win some games. Darren Waller has been an outstanding find. So I look at Derek Carr and I go, you could do worse at quarterback, all right? Like, that's why when the discussion was being had about potential destinations for Aaron Rodgers, the team that made more sense than the Denver Broncos, who have been the favorite majority of the time, is the Las Vegas Raiders, because at least you would be getting back a quarterback. If you didn't feel like Jordan Love was ready to go, Derek Carr can step in and be a quality quarterback in that division. And in fact, I would say you bring in Derek Carr to that NFC North, and you've got the best quarterback of the division. I think he's better than Kirk Cousins. I think he's better than Jared Goff. And I think he'd be better than whoever the Bears rolled out. At this point, Mike Tomczak's stunt double. I have no idea what they're going to do at quarterback. But I think Derek Carr would be the best quarterback in that division. So it always made more sense to me that Green Bay would want to do a deal. If they didn't feel Jordan Love was ready, what quarterback could you get in return that would be the stopgap before Jordan Love? Derek Carr would have made the most sense. So I'm surprised that the Raiders are still out there. But if they feel like they can make this work with Deshaun Watson, the Raiders are a team that's been rumored. The Miami Dolphins, the situation with Tua has been bizarre from the get-go. It's just been bizarre from the get-go. And Tua is kind of in a similar spot as Derek Carr is, except for the fact that Derek Carr has actually gotten an opportunity to, not get benched when his team is trailing on the road in his first season. The Brian Flores handling of Tua Tagovailoa, people can say, oh, it's unique. It's a different approach. I think it's terrible. You got a rookie quarterback, and twice in his rookie season, you benched him when they were trailing on the road. How the hell do you expect that guy to learn from that? Like, how do you expect him to just all of a sudden be okay when you've got him on a platoon? Hey, you're good enough to start the game. You're good enough to be in the lineup during the game, but the second we're trailing on the road, we don't trust you to be able to figure it out. You either have a quarterback or you don't, and I don't know the decision, the planning there, so it's not surprising to me that Deshaun Watson would be rumored to go to the Miami Dolphins. I know that was a destination he was interested in when the trade rumors first started, but it's not surprising to me based on how Brian Flores handled Tua in his first year. The team that you can unequivocally cross off the list that's going to make a move for Deshaun Watson is the Washington football team. It's laughable that this team would be thrown out, that this team would be thrown out there as a potential destination for Deshaun Watson. And here's why. You think after all of their issues with female employees, with the cheerleaders, with all the other stuff that's come out regarding that organization and their structure and the things that went on behind the scenes, you think that they would then go out and trade for a guy who's got 50-plus massage therapists and 22 of them who have lawsuits against him? You think that's happening? You think they want to deal with that PR blowback? They can't even get a name right. It's year 2 of the football team. They can't even decide on a name because they don't know whether to take a crap or wind their watch. They have no idea what to do because every single time they make a move, it ends up in a PR disaster. You think the Washington football team, with all their history of female employees and issues that they have had, and all the, you think that they would make a move for Deshaun Watson? It's laughable that they're even on the list. Like, you can, it's not happening at all. At the very least, this is a bad look for Deshaun Watson. At the very least, he will never be looked at the same again. There are going to be people who will never look at him the same again. Same with Ben Roethlisberger, and same with a lot of athletes who go down this road. He's never going to get looked at again. If the Washington football team, based on all their issues they had, go out and make a move and pursue Deshaun Watson, the amount of heat that they will catch will be unlimited because of how poorly they read the room. So when I see that Washington is even rumored here, the first thing I thought of was, oh, well, that's not real. That's just them. That's just somebody trying to stir up some trade interest. That's not happening. He would be a significant upgrade at the position for that organization, but based on the history of that organization, I can assure you Washington is not making a move for Deshaun Watson.